Sex workers devastated, look to alternatives after Backpage closure. Phoenix. When the Department of Justice unceremoniously shut down Backpage last week, it was the first public-facing step in a sweeping criminal case against the website's executives. But before federal authorities could issue a statement, before the classified site's owners would face a judge, and before the public would learn of their charges, the narrative around Backpage had taken on a life of its own. The site had served as a microcosm of a larger debate on prostitution in recent years, and the seizure of what the Department of Justice called the Internet's leading forum for prostitution ads ignited swift reactions on both sides. Anti-sex trafficking advocates, including Cindy McCain, cheered Backpage's demise as a blow to an abusive industry. Meanwhile, sex workers across the U.S. and Canada's warned social media to air concerns rarely heard in political discourse. To them, Backpage's demise meant the end of safeguards and a reliable revenue stream in a profession that's not going anywhere. "They're devastated," said Laura Dilley, executive director of PACE, a Vancouver-based nonprofit that advocates for decriminalizing prostitution. April 12, Backpage.com CEO pleads guilty in prostitution, money laundering case. April 12, how outsourcing to India gave prosecutors a window into Backpage operations. If sex workers can't advertise online, they can't screen their clients beforehand and are forced back out to bars and into the street, Dilley said. "It's more dangerous and there's more of a police presence," she said. "They're just going to be at more of a heightened risk." While many sex workers said they would continue posting on other smaller websites, they also worry about the future. On Wednesday morning, President Trump signed a bill giving prosecutors more power to go after websites that knowingly host sex trafficking ads. It also gives women who claim they were trafficked the ability to sue. It's not clear how websites will respond. After the bill passed Congress, for example, Craigslist took down its singles ads. And as the bill was moving through Congress, Backpage restricted postings on singles ads to photos, phone numbers and web links. "There's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of grief and fear," said Jelena Vermillion, a sex worker based outside of Toronto. "A lot of people are essentially planning to be homeless, planning how to fall gracefully as much as possible. From Friday, a lot of these people haven't had any calls." After the Backpage closure April 6, an Arizona-based sex worker, called Vegas, said she relied on her regular clients to get her through that weekend. "I am going to do what I have to do to survive," she said. "I might have to work the streets, work the bars, you do what you have to do." Prostitution is still illegal in 49 states, the exception being certain counties in Nevada. For this reason, the Arizona Republic has agreed to withhold the sex workers' legal names for this story. In Canada, selling sex is legal, but buying it isn't. Vegas said Backpage afforded her more anonymity than meeting strangers in public. And it gave her a barrier to screen her clients and meet them in a safe place. The woman described how she would have unknown clients call her from across street so she could check them out from her window. She doesn't believe Backpage's closing will stem prostitution or sex trafficking. "It will push it underground," Vegas said, noting that Backpage screened for ads that appeared to include someone underage or trafficking victims. April 9, 93-count indictment on sex trafficking charges revealed against Backpage founders. April 7, Backpage.com, seized by federal law enforcement, is a Delaware LLC in good standing. Backpage had an incentive to review the ads and make sure nothing was going on, she said. "Now, it's going to force people out to the streets, where we can't really fight." A Michigan woman who goes by the name Sarah Phoenix on Twitter posted a viral thread about how the ability to screen on Backpage saved her from riskier sex work. Phoenix told the Arizona Republic she used the site to test the client before they met up. She would ask them to text their favorite movie "So I Know You're Real," or to bring her fruit or bagels. The guys who could follow that one simple instruction were actually better than the ones who couldn't, she said. "It's not necessarily about the information you get, it's about gauging someone's willingness to follow instruction." Phoenix said she is no longer in the business and now works a cube job. Seeing the closure of Backpage though, she said, was like watching a childhood house burn down. Vegas said she's hoping another site picks up where Backpage left off. One called Arrows may be that site, she said, but added that it's more expensive to post there, and the wait time for vetting ads has increased since Backpage's closing. Attempts to reach an executive from Arrows were not answered. The reactions over Backpage generally boil down to two camps: those who believe prostitution should be illegal and those who don't. Advocates for decriminalization say the sex industry will always be around, and regulation would make it safer. Those against it argue that selling sex, by nature, is abusive. Advocates have succeeded in changing police attitudes about prostitutes from being seen as criminals to women in need of rescue. Many sex workers, however, reject the victim label. April 7, Feds charge Backpage founder after human trafficking investigation. April 6, Backpage seized, FBI rates founder's home just as classified listing site shut down in recent years. Some anti-trafficking advocacy and political groups have begun blurring the lines between prostitution and sex trafficking. Per the expanded definition, a sex trafficking victim is someone who enters prostitution by force, fraud or coercion. A minor, by definition, is always considered a trafficking victim. In a statement, FBI Director Christopher Wray said Backpage's closing strips traffickers of a key tool. This website will no longer serve as a platform for human traffickers to thrive, he said. Whether on the street or on the internet, sex trafficking will not be tolerated.